Charlie's indifference, narrative mistake, or character flaw? Hazbin Hotel, when the author's intention betrays the character. This is a crucial analysis because it exposes the classic gap between authorial intention and audience reception. Vivian Medrano's Vivzy Pop's statements clarify her vision. But when you compare them to the actual on-screen text, what we actually saw, it becomes crystal clear why so many viewers, including me, felt that Charlie came across as ruthless. Let's break down the contrast. We will examine each aspect: the author's statement, that is, intention, what was shown on screen, that is, the narrative text, and the contrast and consequence aspect, paternal care. Author's statement: we didn't spend precious time on her kissing his wounds. We thought it would be obvious she had her moment with him. What we saw: hard cut. We see Charlie running toward Lucifer, collapsed, wounded, seemingly dying, and then cut. The next time we see them together, she's already celebrating. Not a single frame shows comfort, worried dialogue, or physical care. Helping him up, tending wounds, that would have been enough. Contrast and consequence. The author assumes the audience will infer an off-screen caring moment that was never dramatized. The viewer doesn't infer it because the narrative jump is far too abrupt, and because Charlie's subsequent tone, pure euphoria, doesn't reflect the gravity of the moment that was supposedly omitted. Aspect: Lucifer's condition. Author's statement: in the end, he was fine, just exhausted, tired. What we saw: Lucifer looked utterly defeated, sprawled on the ground, clothes torn, covered in wounds and dust, breathing heavily, face contorted in pain and extreme exhaustion. Visually, he did not look fine. He looked on the verge of collapse. I genuinely thought he was dying. My poor Lucy. Contrast and consequence. The author downplays the visual severity that she herself created. The body language and scene design screamed agony, not mere tiredness. This makes Charlie's lack of reaction feel like indifference to obvious suffering rather than confidence in his resilience. Narrative priority. Author's statement. Then we shifted focus to Pentius's broadcast. What we saw: the transition goes straight from the father's supposed agony to public triumph. The narrative chooses to prioritize the reaction to Sir Pentius, a secondary character Charlie barely knew, over the emotional climax with her father, the central relationship of the entire season. Contrast and consequence. This is the most damning part. The editing choice sends a clear message. Public reaction and the hotel plot are more important than the private emotional moment with Lucifer. This isn't an accident, it's a character decision. It shows that in that instant, Charlie prioritizes the project and the community over the individual, her own father. Emotional response. Author's statement: that was the intention, referring to generating anguish and conflict. What we saw: Charlie's subsequent reaction is pure euphoria and relief over the hotel victory. No lingering worried guilt or relief about her father shows in her expressions or dialogue afterwards. Contrast and consequence. The author wanted narrative anguish, but part of the audience ended up with moral outrage toward Charlie. The total absence of emotional follow-through makes it look like she got over the trauma of watching her father nearly die in seconds, which is psychologically implausible and makes her seem cold. Father-daughter dynamic. Author's statement: he's a very powerful adult. He's fine. What we saw: the entire season built Lucifer as a powerful adult who is emotionally fragile and desperately needs his daughter's love. His arc was about emotionally depending on Charlie's validation. Having her pushed aside by the plot in his moment of greatest physical vulnerability betrays that entire dynamic. Contrast and consequence. The author uses his physical power to justify the lack of attention while completely ignoring the emotional vulnerability that was the core of his character. This makes Charlie look like she's instrumentalizing him. Useful as a powerful weapon, disposable as a loved one who needs comfort. Conclusion. Why does Charlie feel like two completely different characters? Because the author describes Charlie from the omniscience of intention, like she definitely took care of him off-screen, while the viewer can only judge Charlie by her actions, or lack thereof, on-screen. Intention Charlie. A daughter who, after a moment of panic, privately tends to her wounded father, makes sure he's fine, just tired, and then, with that resolved, can return to the collective celebration, logistically and emotionally competent. On-screen Charlie, a leader who has an instinctive initial reaction when her father falls, the ultimate symbol of her support and love. But that thread is immediately interrupted and displaced by the triumph narrative. She never picks it back up. This paints her as disconnected from intimate bonds in favor of a collective ideal, or worse, incapable of handling deep emotional vulnerability and hiding behind public triumph. In short, the author trusted that viewers would fill in the blanks with emotional inferences. However, the sheer visual power of Lucifer's defeat and Charlie's immediate euphoria afterward were so strong that they drowned out any possible inference. What remained was the observable action. Charlie, or the narrative on her behalf, chose to prioritize celebration over consolation, making the loving, attentive daughter built up in previous episodes look at the climax like a strategic ally rather than a compassionate daughter. Wow, this isn't necessarily a writing failure. It can be an intentionally imperfect character trait, but it fully explains the dissonance many fans, including me, feel. And it's a mistake VivziePop needs to own and work on. Your team couldn't spare a few seconds for a father-daughter reconciliation scene? Yet you wasted an entire season right up to the finale on drama over Vaggy's name? Seriously, Vivzie, hire better writers and editors, please!